Welcome to It's a High Raw Life, episode number 68, and today I am making Ann Wigmore's recipe for basic bread, minus the caraway seeds, because my family doesn't like caraway seeds. So we're having a wheatberry bonanza in this house, and you should have seen it last night. It was crazy. I had a giant pot full of wheatberries and a couple mason jars full of wheatberries. I had my sprouting trays, my sprouting bag. I went a little bit overboard. I don't know what happened. I just took all the wheatberries and went crazy. I also took a bunch of the wheatberries that sprouted for about a half a day and then dried them in the dehydrator. Initially, it just started out as a test to see if these giant cans of tubs of wheatberries that my husband got were alive. And then my test just went crazy. So here we go. In Ann Wigmore's sprouting book, she recommends using a Champion juicer with a flat blade, which I don't have, but she also says you can use a food processor with a little bit of water. So into my food processor is going a little more than 4 cups of sprouted wheat berries. These are sprouted for 1 day, so they soaked overnight and then they sprouted for really a day and a half. And they have beautiful tails on them. Another experiment will definitely be to do wheatgrass, because these are definitely vibrant wheat berries. I'm very excited. Okay, so I'm just going to toss that in, and I'm using half a teaspoon of salt. I don't know if that's too much, too little. You know what? I'm going to put in 1/4 teaspoon to start, and we'll see what happens with this. And I'm just going to turn it on, and as needed, I'm going to add in a little bit of pure water. I think I'll scrape down the sides a little bit too. Now this recipe is actually the very recipe for Essene bread, that Essene gospel bread. The only difference is the cooking temperature. So the people during that time, when that Essene gospel is about, they baked their bread in the sun. So I don't really know what temperature they baked it at. But when I looked up in one of our sprouting wheat books about the Essene bread, it says to bake it in the oven between 180 and 200 degrees, which is not what I'm going to do. And Wigmore says to just put it in the dehydrator at 105. So that's what I'll be doing. So if you eat grains, this is probably the best way to eat them. Sprout them and then kill them in the oven. It seems to be acting like a dough in there already. Kind of cool. I didn't know what to expect. I think though that I'm going to put in the rest of that salt. So to my 4+ cups of sprouted wheat berries, I'm just using a half a teaspoon of salt. Now in Ann's book, she also has a recipe for pizza bread. But I decided not to go crazy throwing in my very expensive peppers. Holy cow, peppers are so expensive right now. Until I know that the bread comes out edible. So I'm going to move all my sprouts over here, and my dried sprouts. Did I add any water? Did you see me add any water? Did you see me add any water? I don't know if I added water. You know, it's funny, sometimes I have to go back and watch my own shows to see like what I put in and stuff. Alright, it feels like dough. I'm excited. So I'm going to get my trays, and I'm just going to pull it out and make a loaf of bread, I guess. Oh, it's sticky like dough. Let's see. I'm going to read the book to see what she says. Press the dough into small, flat, wafer-like loaf. That's not exactly descriptive. Wafer-like. Like a wafer thin. Isn't that from Monty Python? A wafer thin. My hubby's in the room with me. He's never in here when I'm making recipes, but he's curious about all the wheat craziness too. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to press this all out onto the sheet and make one giant, massive, flat, wafer-like loaf. And then I'll show you how it looks before I put it in the dehydrator. I will be putting it in the dehydrator at 105, and it could take upwards of 20 hours to become crisp. And I'm sure I'll sample it along the way so that I can tell you. But this was so easy, wasn't it? Okay, so I have it flattened out, and here is what's interesting to me. It's not quite uniform. I was thinking I could have wet a rolling pin and used that to really flatten it out. But it was 4+ cups of sprouted wheat berries, which, you know, probably was about 2 cups of wheat berries to start with. It didn't even quite fill up that whole sheet. I had pulled out like 3 sheets just imagining it was going to be, I don't know, I've been going wheat crazy. So that's going to go in the dehydrator, and then all of this wheat that I dried, we are going to, and by we, I mean my husband and the kids and I are all going to take turns grinding our sprouted wheat that I dried in this grinder. Oh, look at that. A little bit of flour came out. And we're going to make sprouted wheat flour. And that we'll use then actually bake it into a loaf of bread, which I don't know if that'll be edible. Anywho, I will check back in with you and show you the final product. Okay, here is the deal. After I spread this stuff out yesterday and put it in the dehydrator, my husband was like, I don't know, that looked kind of grainy. Maybe it should have been thinner. But you know me, I already had spread it out and I wasn't going to wash that and redo it. So I put that one in. But then I took some other wheat berries, threw them back into the food processor and put in a little liquid, and it did come out much smoother. So I threw in tomato, a little piece of red pepper, some oregano and whatnot, and made pizza bread. And it is definitely thinner, crisper. So it doesn't snap too much. Very crunchy. It's got a nice flavor. I think the texture would serve a purpose, in a sense, if you're really looking for something crunchy and filling, that would be it. Now, the Essene bread, Ann Wigmore's basic bread recipe. This is it. This is one of those times that I wish those little books that I read had pictures, because I don't really know if this is right. It's like a cracker bread. So could it work? Absolutely. I'm not afraid to try it. It's a super hearty cracker bread thing. More cracker-like than bread-like, but that's fine. I think it tastes really wholesome and nice. Oh, you know what I did to put on top of it? I took some of my fresh orange juice. I make every couple of days a new batch of fresh orange juice for the fridge. And I just soaked some chia seeds in it. So I made like a chia orange marmalade, which I thought would be good to try on this. It's very crunchy. Okay, anyway, that's nice. The chia orange marmalade, that worked out good. Just something else to do with your wheat berries to experiment with. My next experiment is to do the wheatgrass thing. We'll see if I'm able to figure that part out. I know I could watch videos and read up on it, but I like to do, and then if I mess it up, figure out somebody else's plan. So I have now tried Ann Wigmore's basic bread recipe for you. It was very easy, wasn't it? You could try it. See you next time, and it's a Habit of Life.